Well, welcome back, everyone. This devotion I am preparing to be broadcast on Thursday morning of February 3rd, 2022. We have just finished John's Gospel. We did that, finished that up yesterday. And as I have been talking about and saying, I am going to talk a little bit about the I am statements. We usually talk about that there's 7 I am statements. That's not quite exactly true because, for one thing, he tends to repeat the I am statements. Jesus does more than just once. So there's, though it's 7 times, there's more references to it than that. And then other times people will repeat it back to Jesus as well. The significance of the I am statement, remember that harkens back to Exodus chapter 3, where the burning bush and Moses and all of that, and who are you and whom do I say you are? The I am. And it is pronounced in the Hebrew. And forgive me for those Hebrew scholars. My mentor Jesse would, if he were still alive, I would have him school me on the proper pronunciation. But I barely can pronounce English, so forgive me. And I am would be ahia, and that would mean I am. And it is related to the word Yahweh, which is the name we have for God, which means we translate as Lord in the New or the Old Testament, Yahweh, which means He is or He causes to exist, and both are forms of Haya, which means to exist or to be. They both come out of that Haya word. So both Ahia and Yahweh are related. So it's interesting that we when we know that I am is Yahweh or equivalent to Yahweh. Prior to this, generally it was Elohim or El Shaddai. These are the names of God. I am is more of the is speaking to the character of God, and so that is why these 7 statements, each of which speaking subsequently about some characteristic of God or some role that God is playing. So I'm going to just go through them. I'm going to try to watch my time here a little bit closely. We're at 2 minutes and 26 seconds. Look at my counter on the phone. Try to keep these, and I would probably divide this in 2 so that we don't end up with one big long one here. So try to move myself so I can read my counter contrasted against my complexion. If it was down at the bottom, that would help me out. So the first I am statement in John's Gospel is found in the 6th chapter. It's in verse 35. And of course, as Jesus said to them, I am the bread of life. And then he repeats it in verse 48. I am the bread of life in verse 48 again. And then he repeats it again, a little different, in verse 51. I am the living bread. And of course, this is comparing himself and the nutrition, the nutrients, the spiritual nutrients that we are getting to the manna in the heaven in the story of Exodus again. So this is where Jesus is tacking in what he is. I am that which sustains you. I'm not some frivolous thing. This is real nourishment. This is real sustenance. Okay? This is what Jesus is. I am the bread of life. The second I am statement is found in the 8th chapter of John, but then it's repeated again in the 9th chapter. It is the I am the light of the world. And we find that in 8:12. Jesus is talking about the blind man. And he says, again, Jesus spoke to them saying, I am the light of the world. Whoever follows me will never walk in darkness, but will have the light of life. And then in chapter 9, verses 1 to 5, that's where he has dealt with the blind man. It's preceding and following the story of the blind man. In verse 5 of chapter 9, he says, after dealing with the man, neither this man or his parents have sinned, ask who sinned. In verse 5, he says, as long as I am in the world, I am the light of the world. I am the light of the world. The second of the I am statements. Again, light is a very important thing. Light chases out the darkness. The darkness means the evil of the world. Jesus is that brings purity and the ability to discern things. Sight is important to us because we can pick our way through a very tangled mess or a maze. We can find our way through life by our sight. And if you're blind, of course, then you have to use other senses, or touch or hearing or what have you. But the sight, that ability to see because of the light, is what allows us to navigate this world. And so I am the light of the world is the second I am statement. Jesus is very much the light. And if we allow him to be our light, no matter whether we have physical sight or not, if we allow him to be our light in discerning this world, to pick our way through, we certainly are going to fare far, far better than if we stumble around in the darkness, lost without a moral compass, so to say. All right, the third I am statement, I am the gate. Now, here he, of course, is talking about being the gate for the sheep. This is the story of the good shepherd. He says it twice. In verse 7, he says, "So again, Jesus said to them, very truly I tell you, I am the gate for the sheep." We, of course, are the sheep finding the way through the gate. In verse 9, he says, "I am the gate. Whoever enters by me will be saved and will come in and go out and find pasture. The thief comes only to steal and kill and destroy. I came that you may have life and have it abundantly." He is the way to get through this word. We need to use that light that he was giving us to find that gate. We see his light that draws us to the gate. He's the true path to sometimes it's door, sometimes it's gate, the sheep gate or the sheep door, but I am the gate for the sheep. So that is the third of the I am statements. Okay, and then John chapter 10, we're looking at verse 11. Again, this is I am the good shepherd. We're still dealing with that sheep analogy and all the way through there. I am the good shepherd. It's repeated. It's in verse 11, 10, 11, and it's repeated in verse 14. I am the good shepherd, and the sheep know my name. They come to me. They don't follow someone else. And he talks here about laying down his life for the sheep. This idea of the good shepherd. A good shepherd protects his sheep. He doesn't run away, remember? So Jesus is the true shepherd. He's not a false one. He's the good shepherd. So I'm going to end this one here because we're at 7:47, 48, counting down. And so tomorrow you come back, we'll have the rest of the I am statements in that video. I'm going to keep recording it for tonight, but I'm going to cut it off right here for now. So until tomorrow, have a very blessed day. And please, please, please be a blessing to someone today. We'll talk to you tomorrow. Bye-bye.